What was your reaction to the trial yesterday?
What are you planning to tell lawmakers in your opening remarks?
Okay, this is wrong. This isn't video.
What is your message to lawmakers today, sir?
Read the Isaacson biography yet?
Mr. Musk, would a UAW strike help Tesla?
Hello, Mr. Musk. What are you going to tell the senators today, Mark?
What's your opening message to them?
Find agreement on AI.
That's fine, but he's talking to Schmidt right now. You want to take this?
Do you think that's ex-CEO's basically Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Okay, it's over now.
Elon, how is XAI different than other AI technologies?
What's your message for the senators? What's your message for
to study it, to make it safer, have external audits and to that is important. So taking the time to make it safe and understand the risks, I'm very proud of that. I think it's important.
So what do you hope to achieve? I mean, are people trusting you to save AI?
Senator Schumer, why is this?
What you're saying is we have to have some failures. I don't want 13-year-olds to be your guinea pig. I don't want 14-year-olds to be your guinea pig. I don't want any kids to be your guinea pig. I don't want you to learn from their failures. You want to learn from the failures of your scientists? Go right ahead. Let's not learn from the failures of America's kids. This is what happened with social media. We had social media who made billions of dollars giving us a mental health crisis in this country. They got rich. The kids got depressed, committed suicide. Why would we want to run that experiment again with AI? Why not raise the age?
Let's also recognize that technology does require real users. What's different about this technology, and which is so fundamentally different in my view from the social media experience, is that we not only have the capacity, but we have the will, and we are applying that will to fix things in hours and days.
I think there are other countries that are doing the same type surveillance. So what can you do to prevent that? How do we prevent that?
Senator, I've argued in the past that facial recognition technologies and certain sorts of biometric surveillance are fundamentally dangerous, and that there's no world in which that should be safe for any of us, and that we should prohibit them outright. In the very least, prohibition of biometric surveillance in public spaces, prohibition of emotion recognition. This is what I refer to as the strong bright line measures that draws absolute lines in the sand rather than procedural ones that ultimately, I think, end up entrenching this kind of harmful surveillance.
We need to be very careful about who we sell our technology to, and you know, at NVIDIA we try to sell to people who are using this for good commercial purpose.
Elon, what did you say to the senators? Elon, what did you say to the senators, sir? Elon, what did you say to the senators?
So I think the key point was really that it's important for us to have a referee, just as you have a referee in a sports game or all sports games, and that the games are better for it to ensure that the players obey the rules, play fairly. I think it is important for similar reasons to have a regulator, which you can think of as a referee, to ensure that companies take actions that are safe and in the interest of the general public. Well, I think it was very civilized discussion, actually. among some of the smartest people in the world. So I thought Senator Schumer did a great service to humanity here, along with support of the rest of the Senate. And I think I think something good will come of this. I think this meeting may go down in history as being very important for the future of civilization.
So legislation is going to come out of this?
Probably. I'm not sure what the time frame of that is, but the legislative process is not a swift one. But I think things will go in the right direction generally. Leader Schumer did ask everyone to raise their hands in the room to see if they were in favor of AI regulation, and I believe almost everyone did.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. Well, I can't read their mind, but judging by the fact that they put their hands up when asked if they believe that some regulation is in order, I think I think it's clear that there's a strong consensus, overwhelming consensus that there should be some AI regulation.
Okay, great.
That it would be in the best interest of the people to do so. And I think we'll probably see something happen. I don't know on what time frame or exactly how it will manifest itself.
Yeah, that's the question. What were they going to do?
I don't know. I mean, there's clearly, we've created regulatory agencies before, and actually just recently, just before leaving, made the point that while our regulatory agencies are not perfect, and I deal with regulators on a very frequent basis, with automotive, communications, Starlink, and then FAA with rockets. So I've had a tremendous amount of interaction with regulators for a couple decades at least. And while regulators are not perfect, there's no regulatory agency that I'm aware of that I think we should, at the federal level at least, that we should delete. I think the probability of there being some sort of AI regulatory agency that stands on its own, similar to the FAA or FCC, is likely at some point.
You think so?
I think so. Now, the reason that I've been such an advocate for AI safety in advance of sort of anything terrible happening is that I think the consequences of AI going wrong are severe. So we have to be proactive rather than reactive. In the past, if you take, say, and I'm being somewhat late for, speaking of regulators, I'm a little late for the FAA, I'm meeting with the FAA.
We don't want to hold you up.
Sure, but if you take the example of say, seatbelts. Seatbelts were opposed by the auto industry for a very long time, even though the data was very clear that they're safe, that they radically improve deaths and injuries. So, we don't want to be in that situation where we're fighting regulations, even though there's a safety thing. We can't wait for millions of people to die in auto accidents. And it's important to just elevate the question here. The question is really one of civilizational risk. So it's not like one group versus another, one group of humans versus another. It's like, hey, this is something that's potentially risky for all humans everywhere. Very important to understand that. The sequence of events will not be jumping at the deep end and making rules, but it starts with insight. In fact, this is actually how all of the regulatory bodies have been formed, I believe. Is you start with a group formed to create insight, to understand the situation. Then you have proposed rulemaking. You'll get some objections from industry or whatever. And then ultimately you get sort of a consensus on rulemaking. That rulemaking then becomes law or regulation. The future as a series of probabilities as opposed to certainties. There is some chance that above zero that AI will kill us all. I think it's low, but there's some chance. I think we should also consider the fragility of human civilization. And if you study history, I think you realize that there's a rise and fall to every civilization. Every civilization has sort of a lifespan, so we want ours to last as long as possible.
I need everyone to step onto the sidewalk now.